So I've just this last week, I think, or last couple weeks, I've started to like pass or be seen as like male, and 100% of the time out there in public, people are not even like batting their eyes, especially when I open my mouth. I'm 5 months and a week on testosterone. Today I got called for jury duty, and I haven't got my name changed yet. So I get there, and I show them my little summons paper, and the guy looks at it, looks at me. He looks at it, looks at me, and he's like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot!" And I'm like, "Stephanie." It's like, "You're gonna have to go talk to them." And so then I go over and I talk to some other lady, and she does the same thing. She grabs the card, she looks at it, she looks at me, she looks at the card, she looks at me. "What's your name?" And I'm like, it's Stephanie. That's my legal name. I am transgender. Um, and she's like, "Oh, okay." So then she gives me my little badge. It's still really awkward. Um, then everybody who came up to me was always like, "Sir, man, man, not ma'am." And so then I get called to this potential selections of if you get on the jury. So I go and I sit down in this courtroom with like 16 other jury people that I'm going to be with for the next 2 weeks. And the judge starts asking questions, and then she would, when we raise our hand and stuff like that, we'd show her our number, and then she'd look on her sheet of paper to see what the number, if it was like a Mr. or a Mrs., and then she put that on their last name. So then I think, I don't know, maybe the question was, have you ever had like any training and da 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 da, and so I raised my hand and talked about my training, and she goes, she points to me before she even looks on her paper, and she goes, "Okay, sir." And then she looks down at her sheet of paper, and then she sees my legal name, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, Miss Anderson." And it's like, "That's Mr." And then she kept talking and couldn't hear me, and I'm like, "That's Mr." Right in front of like all the juries and the lawyers and the judge. And then finally she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm sorry." And then she referred to me as Mr. Anderson the rest of the day. It was so embarrassing. So that's what I have to look forward to for the next 2 weeks. I'll just get through it and then get my name changed. And then I've been thinking about getting top surgery lately. I was thinking about how a lot of this can be like really traumatic for some people. Um, and I just want people to kind of get a feel for a transition. I look back and I look at myself, and when pre-teen, when I was in such a dilemma over transitioning, and I think, get your act together. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Your transition is going to be smooth and easy, and everything's going to be better. Um, transition's not for pansy asses. I think I overly prepared for like just literal hell. That I don't know. I think I died somewhere along the way, and or at least that anxiety in me, and or I just got so darn used to just um, being discriminated against, that it's just going through it. It's just like, oh yeah, not really just noticing anything too huge, like everyone kept talking about how hard transition is and stuff like that, and so I expected it to be like really really hard, and I guess this next couple weeks is going to be hard with the jury duty. I'm finally into the stage where I'm not, like, people are not questioning what my gender is. That's got through the first 5 months of medically transitioning, which is like really cool. Yeah, I'd definitely say I died along the way. That would be Stephanie finally she finally shut the hell up. um, or at least maybe it wasn't me that died, that she died, or shall we say, um, expectations from others to be Stephanie died, and then it just kind of, I don't know, it's just not as panicky anymore. I'm thinking that if they want Stephanie to go to this jury duty, it's not going to happen. They're going to have Seth there, because Seth's here now. It's not Stephanie. I mean, it really never was Stephanie, but Seth was pushed down to such a degree. He was suffocated with all his makeup and curls and lipstick and blouses, and it was suffocating. Very plastic. But I ended up talking to this trans guy that I ended up talking to through the internet, and he was just starting his medical transition on testosterone, and he'd been in this dilemma of whether he should transition for the next 5 years. It's just back and forth. And like a year ago, he started transitioning medically, and then he had a panic attack, and he stopped in a month, and then he was going through the same thing again this time around, and it's just such anxiety. It made me really think about potentially, for some people, transition's not right for them. Well, I know that transition is not right for some people, but I never had a panic attack about testosterone and what it was going to do to my body. It was more like my pre-T anxiety attacks, and some of it was pre-coming out too, within like before testosterone and then 3 months after. My anxiety attacks were surrounded around what people would think of me, and going into the unknown. It wasn't about testosterone, and it wasn't an unbearable panic attack. But it's important to listen to yourself concerning whether this is right for you or not. Because I find living in a body with the correct gender, I have like confidence to go and like correct the judge, or correct my parents, or correct my boss, or correct a facility full of a bunch of mentally ill people. Constantly, no, I'm Seth. No, that's he. No, sir. No, you did not just call me ma'am. Because when you're being yourself, there's a confidence that it's a little overwhelming at times. You can be confident like that. I tried to help that guy, but it didn't turn out so well. nothing I could have said could have made him feel better. He was in just complete dilemma. Um, we really shouldn't make finding our gender to be like such a dilemma that we can't live our life, you know? We're so much more than just our gender expression. Like if we all have a little bit of our male self and a little bit of our female self. And we have to try to figure out how to balance the two and express it within this body. And sometimes it's hard to find that kind of balance for some people, especially genderqueer people, or people that hold on to the expectations of others. Because if you go on testosterone and you're born female, you're going to be covering up a part of your female self. And if you're been born male and you go on estrogen, you're going to be covering up part of your masculine self. And it's all about how much which part of yourself do you want to be seen the most? For me, I want to be seen more as male. I know that I'm not genderqueer because I didn't feel comfortable with the last 5 months with not being gendered. I went through this really awkward stage of people not gendering me at all, and then just awkwardness. I didn't find confidence when I was like that. I didn't find this like, oh, this is who I am. I'm in between. That's not me. And I know if some people, they're definitely the in-betweeners, and then there's people that want to be like both, but not like both in the middle. And it's not really like you can't be like both unless it's both in the middle. I don't know what to say. Now I'm just kind of rambling. But got jury duty tomorrow. I'm just gonna take it one day at a time. But it's not like the end of the world. It's not like such a panic attack that it's the end of the world. I don't know. I hope that I have videos out here that just give you guys courage and help you find yourself. That for some people, a transition might not be right.